Invoking the blessings of the divine and offering our reverential salutations at the feet of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the inaugural session of the India Startup Festival 2023 here at Sathya Grama.
India is a land of opportunities and entrepreneurship is in its DNA. And India is also the third largest ecosystem in the world for startups. Under the dynamic and visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India is moving relentlessly on the path of becoming the largest economy of the world while ensuring the growth is sustainable and inclusive.
With this as the premise, the India Startup Festival was envisaged last year by Mr. J.A. Chowdhury under the guidance of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai as a platform to encourage startups to achieve their goals of solving societal challenges, where the emphasis is on value creation and not just valuations.
This year's theme of innovation at the bottom of the pyramid is to encourage rural entrepreneurship to solve rural problems and create self-governing rural economic models in line with the Grama Swaraj dream of Mahatma Gandhi ji, who said, "A society must be built in which every village has to be self-sustained and capable of managing its own affairs. Growth will not be a pyramid with the apex sustained by the bottom."
Close to 65% of India live in rural areas, and 47% of the population is dependent on agriculture for livelihood. Therefore, it is of paramount importance to empower rural communities to be able to address challenges at the grassroots level, thereby building sustainable and self-sufficient villages.
In fact, it is Sadhguru's vision and conviction that Gram Swaraj is more doable now than ever before, with digital and financial penetration to the rural areas, increased communication and transportation, as well as better education facilities and infrastructure. Gram Swaraj can be realized now. For example, in the 2023 budget of the Government of India, the government announced the Agriculture Accelerator Fund to support and encourage agri-startups and rural enterprises for their innovative and affordable solutions for challenges faced by farmers. And at this festival, agriculture and agri-food business are one of the extremely important and promising sub-themes of rural entrepreneurship.
And this year's India Startup Festival seeks to do exactly just this, in line with the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of India being a nation of job creators, not job seekers, particularly young minds who can provide sustainable, cost-effective, and affordable solutions to India's rural requirements.
We're very grateful and delighted to have so many luminaries amidst us today who have a shared vision to ideate and innovate for those at the bottom of the pyramid.
We extend a very hearty welcome to the dignitaries on the dais. Mr. Sri Atluri, Managing Director, Global Head of Enterprise Quality Engineering at BNY Mellon. Mr. Arvind Kumar, Director General, Software Technology Parks of India. Dr. Kazuhiro Chiba, President, Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology, Japan. Ms. Karina Bellin, co-founder and CEO, W Hub, Hong Kong.
Mr. Barry A. Rudolph, founder, Falcon Store Software. Mr. J. Chowdhury, key architect, Indian tech industry, chairperson and convener, India Startup Festival. Mr. B. N. Narasimhamurthy, Chancellor, Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. and Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, founder, Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, a visionary leader spearheading service initiatives in the verticals of nutrition, education and healthcare across 33 countries, and the guiding light behind the India Startup Festival.
We now kindly request our esteemed guests to come forward to light the ceremonial lamp.
Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
We will now have the auspicious Vedic invocation by the girl students from the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, and they will chant the Sannyasa Suktam.
ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकन्निहितं गुहायां बिभ्राजते तद्यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्त विज्ञान सुनिश्चितार्थाः सन्न्यासयोगात् यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोके तु परान्तकाले परामृतात् परिमुच्यन्ति सर्वे दह्रं विपापं परमेष्मभूतं यत्पुण्डरीकं पुरमध्यः सर्गस्थम् तत्रापि दह्रं गगनं विशोकस्तस्मिन् यदन्तस्तदुपासितव्यम् यो वेदादौ स्वरः प्रोक्तो वेदान्ते च प्रतिष्ठितः तस्य प्रकृतिलीनस्य यः परः स महेश्वरः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु।
Rural startups in India have the potential to play a significant role in the country's GDP growth for Vision 2047, which is employment generation, innovation and technology adoption, inclusive growth, agriculturally focused startups, export potential, etc. We believe it is a responsibility of the entire ecosystem, along with various stakeholders, to create an enabling environment for rural startups to thrive and catalyze India's GDP growth for Vision 2047. This festival is complementary to the great initiatives of the Government of India, such as the Startup India, the Digital India, Make in India, etc., which has brought together thousands of startups here to advance their mission and drive towards an Atmanirbhar Bharat. May we now invite Mr. J. Chaudhary to deliver the introductory remarks. Mr. J. Chaudhary served as the founding director of Software Technology Parks of India, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Chennai, former IT advisor and special chief secretary to the Chief Minister Government of Andhra Pradesh. He currently serves as the chairman of the Indian Blockchain Standards Committee and the general partner Succeed Innovation Fund. Mr. J. Chaudhary.
Pranam Sadhguru. Dignitaries on the dais, captains of the industry, my dear friends from media, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, this is a conference of the startup. I want to tell you a startup story which happened last September. When I came to Muddenahalli, I never had an idea about starting a new startup. When I met Swamiji and he explained his vision, setting up a free hospital in every district in India, so that the poor people who are now getting into the hands of the corporate hospitals and losing all the money, all the lands, literally they are becoming beggars. By the time the patient dies, whether they are into cancer or heart attack or any of those diseases. And I saw that vision of Sadhguru, that what he is already doing and what he wants to do it. Unfortunately, many people, successful people in the industry, corporates, they do not know what Swamiji is doing. I asked Swamiji, I keep coming to Bangalore very often because my native place is just 1.5 hours from Bangalore airport. How come even I don't know what you are doing such a great thing? Then I offered my services to Swami. Swami, if you permit, I want to bring some of our technology CEOs, CXOs to Muddenahalli. Let them see what you are doing through the mission. I want to connect them to a noble cause. I coined a word called C2C. In technology, a lot of buzzwords are there, B2B, B2C. Like that, I coined a new buzzword for the social cause called C2C. But again, I thought, how do they come to a spiritual place? Particularly in India, a lot of people talk about secularism, and the moment it is a spiritual activity, they may say, no, we have employees from all walks of life, we don't want to come. That kind of issues may come. Then me and Dinanath, who came on that day while going in the car, I was just thinking what kind of conference we can bring all the CEOs, CXOs to Muddenahalli so that they can get connected to the cause of Swami, what he is doing, so that their personal money or the company CSR money or whatever their connections, they can actually participate in the big yagnam what Swamiji is doing. Then an idea came, just maybe because of Swamiji's blessings, my new startup idea came like, why don't we have a startup festival in Muddenahalli? That was the idea for a new startup company which we wanted to do, we wanted to bring to Muddenahalli. Like any other startup, we have a great idea. We don't have any fund. We don't have any employees. We don't know whether we will succeed in this startup or not. But anyway, as a risk-taking entrepreneur, we thought, let us do it. When we discussed this with Swamiji, then Swamiji said, October 2nd, Gandhi Jayanti is happening. Why don't you have this conference, bring all these people? With Swamiji, I can't say no. Yes, Swamiji, we will do it. After coming out of Swamiji's room, then me and Dina, hey, we have only 40 days. How can we get all the CEOs, CXOs, and startups to compete because it's a startup festival? How can we do it? Somehow, with his blessings, we were not having a website, no domain name for the India Startup Festival, no money in our bank. It's like any typical startup company issues when you start with an idea. Then again, with his blessings, the kind of people who assembled, they were all entrepreneurs. They were all not employees of our India Startup Foundation, but they're all entrepreneurs, most of them working in big corporates as number 2, number 3, that kind of professionals. They all said, Jay, we want to come to you as a volunteer and we'll work with you, let us make it happen. With their support, we were able to, with no email ID, no website, no money in the bank, we were able to bring all the who's and who's from the industry to Muddenahalli for the first India Startup Festival in October 1st and 2nd, which happened here. We were able to bring a competition, startup competition led by Dinanath. More than 2,000 startups across the India, they participated in the competition. And we were not having teams even to assess whether these startups are good or not good and all that. But somehow, with again God's blessings and Sadhguru's blessings, the things happened. We were able to screen all the applications, and finally we were able to bring about 100 plus startups come to Muddenahalli. On the day of the startup pitches, we were not prepared, right? We were not having a previous experience of running this kind of no event management company, nobody to support us. But thanks to all the volunteers, the boys who came from Sathya University, the kind of help, volunteerism they demonstrated, not even a single issue anybody raised during that conference. We were able to conduct all the pitches, and we selected about 20 companies in that conference. See, any startup company, I keep telling the startup founders, unless you have a unique selling proposal, you can't survive as a startup company. USP, they call it. So we figured out what should be the USP, because there are so many conferences happening. NASSCOM runs a startup conference, TIE runs a startup conference, CIA runs a startup conference, FICCI runs a startup conference. So many organizations are already there. What is our USP? If you are running the same kind of a conference, who will come and how, particularly, see, bringing the venture capitalists and angel forums. See, when I was running one conference along with Indian School of Business way back in 2000, we had a TIE ISB Connect conference. The first conference, when I called all the venture capitalists from Bangalore, Bombay, all of them came to Indian School of Business. Then we ran a competition, business plan competition, and at the end of the conference, all the VCs and all the investors, they came to me, Jay, these business plans, not even a student studying in an engineering college, it is worse than that kind of a business plan, what the business plans are submitted. If this is the kind of quality of startups are there, don't waste our time, we will not come. That was a lesson for me, and I remembered, yes, what happened when we had a conference like this in Hyderabad, in Indian School of Business. If startups, if they have to be helped, without investors, what is that? Why they will come to Muddenahalli all the way from different parts of the country? Can I get a glass of water? Sorry, my throat is getting a little dried up. So I figured out that how do we get the, thank you. Sorry. But fortunately, I have many friends in the venture capital world, like people like VLK, Anand Govindaluri, and many venture capitalists, my friend Vikrant Vashnay, and I requested all of them, you have to be here, and I also requested few HNIs to come here. Based on my word, they were all here, and we ran the conference, and startup companies were also very happy. But what do we do post-conference? This again, none of the other conferences have experimented this. In fact, we created a WhatsApp group for the conference ISF 22, and soon after the conference, everybody was leaving the group. I said, no, don't leave. We will continue this group. I said, why? Because conference is over. Why you want to? We already you added us in so many WhatsApp groups. Why this conference WhatsApp? No. We will have a mentoring sessions. These mentoring sessions we started within 2 weeks of the ISF 22, and more than 200 mentors from the venture capital world, CXOs of large companies, academicians, HNIs, they were all there. And I said, every Saturday, 10:30 to 11:30, because we have not given enough time to these selected startups, we will give 1 hour time to them. Each company will give 1 hour time, and we'll listen. Let us listen to them. What are the problems? I know many startups, they struggle initial days. I mean, before they get into the revenue traction, customers traction, they really struggle. So let us hear their problems and see what we can do. With that idea, we started that mentoring session every Saturday, 10:30 to 11:30. And to my surprise, all the mentors used to, allocate the time. They used to be there, and all the companies who used to present, whatever the problems with whether they are not able to get the further investments, whether they are not able to get business, or they don't have proper mentoring program with them, or any technology related, all the 15 companies were benefited so much. And in fact, when we had a program in T-Hub recently for a curtain raiser, all these 15 companies came and said how ISF really helped, and today we are doing very well as far as the business is concerned. With Swamiji permission, not all the 15 companies, I will request few of the companies to come here and explain how ISF helped them. If Praveen, are you there? He is a fighter pilot. He was in the Indian Air Force, and he created a simulator, fighter's simulator, and he spent more than 3 crores, and he was struggling. He was one of the shortlisted companies by us, and he had a prototype simulator was there, but no business. So let Praveen say how ISF helped him. Praveen, go ahead. You got only 2 minutes.
When a civil pilot transitions to a new airplane, he does his entire conversion on a flight simulator. The first flight he does on the new airplane is with full passengers. This is the importance of simulator in the aviation industry. 2 founders, 2 pilots and 2 engineers driven by patriotism and passion, we set out to build a simulator without idea of how to make it a business. We built our prototype. It was an email that I got into my inbox, which got me here last October, ISF 2022. After shortlisting and winning the pitch contest, I was very happy to see that ISF team followed up. JS sir personally visited my workshop, saw the simulator, and thereafter the mentoring sessions helped. Another thing that happens in this business is, despite being an ex-Air Force officer, it's hard to get time of senior defense officials like the Ministry of Defense, etc. JS sir not only arranged the meetings, he personally took me to Dr. Satish Reddy, scientific advisor to the Raksha Mantri and DRDO directors. Today that became one of the line of business for me. We really I came here not to participate in the pitch contest, but really to thank ISF team and JS sir. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Praveen. I request T.S. Ravana. He has got a great product, and in fact, he has got a stall here. He is from BITS Pilani. He is a topper in BITS Pilani. And he was also struggling, though he had got a great product and also few customers. He came here. Then we started mentoring him also. So let Ramana explain how ISF helped him. Ramana, go ahead. Only 2 minutes.
Namaskaram to one and all. Thank you, Jay Garu. In fact, before ISF, as Jay Garu mentioned, we had what we call as a great product. But then in every startup's journey, I'm sure those who have started working on their own startups will see that there is one inflection point. There is a point where they need that fillip so that they can take off. I think for us, it was last year when we were awarded the 3rd best startup award. Thank you, Jay Garu, for this opportunity. I would like to just give one word or one sentence about our startup. We have built the world's first interactive teaching platform using which faculty who may not have the best expertise in IT can also teach coding extremely well to the students, and students, whether they are from the tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3 colleges, can learn coding well so that they can get placed into the IT industry. Thank you one and all for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ramana. Now I request Ram from Maraku Coffee to come and share his experiences. Ram, are you there? If he is not there, Ram. In fact, Ram is helping a lot of farmers in the Araku Valley and all the tribal people. And by helping them, he also started his startup. So let him explain how ISF helped him taking his products to international markets.
Sai Ram and good morning. So last year we've come down to ISF based on JSR's request saying that Ram, we have to really transform and make a change to the farmers at the end of the day. Last year when we were at ISF, our prime line of business is only to go back and do commercial business of coffee. But after coming here, I don't know the magic of this place. I went back home with 3 things. One is we have to add value to rural citizens and tribal farmer families. Second, ISF taught me you have to network, you have to connect, you have to go back and start adding value chain also while you are contributing to the society. Third, thank you, Jay sir and the ISF team. For this delegation, when the thought process was there, when Jay sir and the team were traveling globally, he said, Ram, what is that we can do uniquely different that can add value to the tribal farmers? Then we've decided we wanted to give return gifts as Araku Coffee, which traveled across the globe along with ISF team. And that gave us such a huge booster today to brand native Araku Coffee globally also. All this success happened only and only because of ISF. And thank you so much, sir. And one last thing which I have committed to Jay sir and which I have written as a takeaway, which I'm going back today is, we will only hire people from rural area in all our coffee shops across India. And one successful model which I wanted to showcase, we have a stall outside. The team members who've come and who stayed here, they're coming out of the village for the first time. Both of them come from a farmer background. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ram. Now I request Monish Era also to give his feedback how ISF helped him. Monish, 1 minute for you.
Good morning to all the dignitaries here. I'm Monish Shera, the founder and CEO of Leaders for India organization. We also run MyCap Investments, a family fund based out of Hyderabad. Leaders for India organization is an angel investment platform, and we specialize in providing pre-Series A and bridge round funding to sector-agnostic businesses and startups. We are a 1-year-old organization with over 100 investors. We've delivered 20 plus crores in startup funding, and we have partnered with 8 sector-agnostic companies, VCs, collaborations across pan-India. I was here for the first edition of ISF as an investor and a jury member for the pitch competition, and I was overwhelmed with the high quality of networking opportunities available here and the startup funding that was provided. ISF is just not a 3-day festival. It is a 365-day-long festival, and the 10:30 to 11:30 Saturday Zoom calls have become a part of our schedule now for different mentorship and support. Jay Garu, all this is possible only because of you, sir. Whether it's a Thai Global event or Institute of Director event, T-Hub event, I have been there and witnessed you mentoring multiple startups. Just a few words of your wisdom is able to change the direction the startup is able to take. One example I just want to give is last December, Jay Garu visited Sadhguru's, the Siddipet hospital built by Sadhguru in the morning, visited a cyber security startup company in the afternoon, and in the evening, he was the guest of honor at a Leaders for India event, which had 30 construction and infra leaders from Hyderabad, all in just one day. So this year I'm here as an investor, and also we have our stall at A22, looking forward to meeting all of you and growing our businesses together. On August 10th, yesterday, while Talaiva Rajni is rocking at the theaters, our startup superstar J.A. Garu and the ISF team have created a record in startup funding. Big round of applause, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the USP that India Startup Festival has. Now I will ask our venture capitalists, VLK and Anand Govindaluri, other VCs here. Don't you think that you can now invest in ISF as a fund? Are you interested in investing? Thank you, VLK. Go in. Thank you. So this is the startup story I'm telling everybody, particularly all the startups who are assembled here. Unless you have some USP, you cannot survive as a startup. The another important thing, not only USP, you need to have a scalable business model. Again, India Startup Festival demonstrated that. We had a small event last year, 22. This year, 10 country delegations are participating in this event, and 10,000 startups are coming here. Within no time, ISF has become an international conference. So scalability, I don't think any startup can provide this kind of a scalability within few months. So that is the, again, with the blessings of Swamiji only, these things can happen. I don't think we are responsible for making this conference as an international, truly global conference. In fact, there are many people who made it possible, particularly some people who are sitting on the dais. Sri Atluri, when I went to New York, New Jersey, he assembled all the who's and who's in the East Coast. They were all there in a meeting funded by him. And I explained to them about India Startup Festival. All of them wanted to come and participate in the India Startup Festival. And in fact, he invited the Assembly Speaker of New Jersey State, Stanley, and he was also there. And Stanley was telling us that they want to host International Startup Festival in New Jersey in the month of April. Now I requested Sri Atluri to become ISF President for the North America. I hope you are accepting my offer. Thanks, Sri. So please mark your calendars. Why I am taking this ISF to international, what happens is connect to the business, connect to the markets is very important. You may have a great product. If you are not able to sell your product in the international market or the domestic market, you will not be able to succeed. So I want to take all my 20, 40 companies who are selected by ISF to the international market and connect them to the business leaders who are all there, because asking them to come all the way to Muddenahalli is a very difficult proposal. Instead, Rahim should go to the mountain. So all the Rahims have to go to the mountains. So the first mountain is going to be in New Jersey. So it's a great opportunity for all our startup companies. And in addition to that, I got a lot of help from Washington, D.C., Dallas, Atlanta. Many of them are already here. And in fact, from Boston, Ram Puppala, he was a global CTO for State Street. Such global leaders, for them sparing even one day is very, very difficult. They all traveled all the way from different parts of the continent. They come here to meet with these startup companies. Then additional thing what happened is, before going to USA, I went to London. There, Sheshadri and Tarun Gulati and Preeti Rana, they are all here. They organized meetings with London Chamber of Commerce, and also organized a meeting in a House of Lords, where only politicians goes to that kind of a parliament building. There, all the parliamentarians were there. In fact, ministers from information technology from UK government was also there. All the who's and who's were all assembled. Then I talked to them about India Startup Festival. They are all impressed, and today you have seen in the LCC, London Chamber of Commerce, a big delegation has come. It's all efforts by the Tarun Gulati, Sheshadri, and Preeti Rana. You should give them a... And Tarun, now I have a new responsibility for you. I want to have one international startup festival in London, and you have to chair that, and you are the president for ISF International for London. Can you accept that? Thank you. Now, another important thing, the way Sheshadri, I know him for the last several years. He has been attending all my FinTech Forum meetings, wherever I run those meetings, he used to come and all that. I know that there is one Sheshadri exists, but I never had a close interaction with him. The moment he got connected on the India Startup Festival, he left all his business. And he was going around Europe. He went to France, he went to Belgium, went to Netherlands, went to, I don't know what all the countries he visited, carrying all the ISF mementos, telling them about come to India Startup Festival. He did a phenomenal job spending all his money. In fact, when I was in London, I stayed in London. He did not allow me to spend even $1 or £1 for my stay or anything. And he used to carry all the bags himself. Once I was trying to carry some of the mementos. He said, sir, you should not carry. I will carry. That is a kind of a volunteerism. Where is Sheshadri? Now, I request Sheshadri to be the ISF president for the European Union. And he said, Belgium, he is going to organize one international startup festival. Are you taking that responsibility? Thank you. Another volunteer is also a successful serial entrepreneur. He's also here. His name is Banu Prakash Reddy. Where is Banu? He's here? Here. He's from IIT, IIM, and BITS Pilani doctorate, and very serial entrepreneur. He left all his entrepreneur journey. He is with India Startup Festival, carrying all the bags, and every day midnight up to 1:30 in the night, guiding the entrepreneurs and all that this thing. And when I mentioned that we need to have the International Startup Festival, taking all our startup companies to those international destinations, he said, sir, I have got a good network in Far East, particularly Dubai and Abu Dhabi and all those places, and also in Singapore, but I am giving you only one responsibility. In Dubai or Far East, wherever you got strong connections, can you make one international festival there? Thank you. Thank you so much. So now again I'm asking my venture capitalists, so do you think we have a scalable model? So can you invest more now? Thank you. Sir, Sadhguruji, with your permission, I want to bring all my volunteers. They're all entrepreneurs, Swami, and they're working day and night. We don't have not even a single paid employee in, normally in this kind of international events, there is a event management company, PR company. Everything is being done by our volunteers who are all from different walks of life, all the volunteers, and also all the volunteers are, most of them are entrepreneurs, most of them working in big companies as CXOs or CTOs. I request all of them to come onto the dais. Please come onto the dais, all the volunteers. In addition to that, we have great volunteers from Sathya Sai institution. Sathya, please bring the volunteers from Sathya Sai. And also we have volunteers from SK University. Please come, SK University volunteers. They are all responsible. I request all of you to give a standing ovation to them because they left their businesses. They are spending their personal money and to make this ISF what it is today. One photograph with Thank you. Now coming to ISF 23, the last conference, Swamiji told me before the valedictory function, Jay, we need to create opportunities in the rural area. We cannot leave rural area behind. We have to empower them, make sure that there are a lot of problems are there in the rural area. These problems, though government is trying to address, and many NGOs, including Swamiji's trust, also they're trying to do something. But if those problems have to be solved in a sustainable way, it has to be done through startup companies. And also where there is a problem, there is an opportunity for a startup. There are humpty number of problems in the rural area. One problem I'll tell you, I'm doing agriculture in my village. There is no labor. I have 500 acres and I kept entire 500 acres crop holiday because labor is not there. So when we had a cut and raiser event in Bangalore, I told this is the problem I'm facing. And immediately one startup company, sir, I have a solution. I will come with a robo which can do whatever you are not able to get for vegetable crops or orchard crops. They are already working. So like that, there are several opportunities are there in the rural India. If startup companies take that as a problem, because startup has to succeed, you will make it a sustainable way. Government, either government of India or state governments, they are giving a lot of money, but there is no sustainability, there is no continuity. Whereas startups, for their own survival, they will make it a sustainable solution. That's the reason why I thought, taking the Swamiji's advice, this conference is focused only creating the rural opportunities, rural entrepreneurial opportunities in the bottom of the pyramid. So in fact, all the roundtables, either rural health, rural education, rural infrastructure, rural finance, everything is around rural. There are a lot of opportunities are there. And in fact, yesterday, two keynote speakers, both of them were telling, Prashant Prakash as well as Vinit Roy, both of them were telling, next startup companies will not come from urban areas. They will all come from rural background. I think that is going to happen. We are going to help a lot of rural people. We will coach them. We will mentor them. See that they will become the successful entrepreneurs. They will also solve all the problems in the rural area. That's the reason why we decided for the next 5 years, conference theme will not change. The roundtables themes also will not change. All the roundtables members will be coming because they have to come and deliver in the 2024 ISF conference. What is that they have done? Many conferences, they come and give a bhashan, Ayaram, Gayaram. Afterwards, nobody knows what happened. So I told all the chairs of the roundtables, you have to monitor every quarter what has been recommendations by your roundtable, whether it's been implemented month on month, quarter on quarter, and come and give a presentation what your roundtable has demonstrated successfully in implementing some of the recommendations. And many of them happily agreed for that challenge, and that's how the ISF 23 is going to start the legacy for the next 5 years. And before I close, I also have a dream that next startups may not come from PhDs, may not come from MTech and BTechs from IITs and IIITs and all that. My gut feel is the young kids, they are going to start startup companies and they will be billionaire, they will create billionaire opportunities for themselves, and also they will create a lot of jobs and their wealth also will be created by them. I want to demonstrate 3 such youngsters who have got brilliant ideas, and I request all of them to come and say what they want to do, how they want to become innovative entrepreneurs. Tej Krishna from Sathya Gurukulam. Please, Tej Krishna, come. And also Arnav from Hyderabad. And Joshua. Joshua has already started a company. Where is Joshua? Mahesh, Joshua is there? Arnab. So let us first hear from Tej Krishna what he wants to do. Tej, go ahead.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my
Little
humble.
louder.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Sadguru. Vasudeva Kudumbakam. One world, one family. Now, I'm going to talk about our innovation lab. In our Gurukulam, we have an innovation lab. Innovation lab. Atal Tinkering Lab. Atal Bihari Vajpayee invented Atal Tinkering Lab. Atal Bihari Vajpayee innovated innovation in every child's mind. So, we have an innovation lab in our Gurukulam. So, with the help of our innovation lab, we have made some projects in the stall. So, our first project is the smartware for the blind. It helps the blind people to see. If there is any object in the front, it beeps. It makes a sound. The next project is the shoes for the blind. The same technology we have used for it. If there is any object in the front, it makes a sound. We got this idea by seeing many people who are blind. I saw many people who are blind in India. So I got this idea of making this. Next project is a smart dustbin. There are many old people who cannot bend to dump their dustbin. So this is an automatic dustbin. So when you go near the dustbin, it automatically gets opened. And we have added a new technology in it, an LED screen. In that LED screen, it shows if the dustbin is full or empty. If the dustbin is full, it shows full, and if it's empty, it shows empty. Our next project is the fire alarm. If in houses fire comes, we will not get to know it. So, we have made a fire alarm which makes a sound when the fire comes. Next is our agricultural project. When the soil is dry, it automatically starts pumping water to the soil. And when the soil is dry, it automatically stops. So I have one wish. When I become big, I want to innovate something new that will help the society. Thank you. Sai Ram.
Arnav.
Hello, good morning.
Little louder.
First off, I'd like to thank Mr. J. Chowdhury and Sadhguru for this opportunity. I would also like to thank my mom for the help with my book. I published my book about a month ago. It's been in the works for 4 years because 3 years ago I read a study on how quantum physics and astrophysics are going to hit a high for the next 3 years. So for the next 3 years, I compiled every study, research paper, lecture, and physicist journal for 3 years, and I compiled all of them into one book that can innovate anything from astrophysics to engineering to quantum physics. It's a very interesting read because it contains everything that humans have used for the past 30 to 50 years to achieve the greatest human achievements up till date. It includes breathtaking discoveries, groundbreaking theories, and one of the most important theories, Einstein's field equations, in its entirety with derivation. Thank you.
I request all of you to give a standing ovation to these kids.
I would also like to ask Mr. Sheshadri to come up on stage.
It's okay. Thank you so much. And you have to become a Nobel laureate in physics, and you will become an innovative entrepreneur. So this is the sample of ISF 23. So with all your help, we will take it to the next level. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. J. A. Chowdhury. Ms. Karina Bellin, co-founder and CEO W Hub, is our next speaker for this morning. A passionate entrepreneur, she is the co-founder of the largest startup platform in Hong Kong. Her specialities include strategic business planning and analysis, lean startup approach, digital marketing, and fundraising. Ms. Karina Bellin, please.
You sure I don't need one? Maybe? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Honorable Subguru, dear J.A. Garu, dignitaries, and the entire audience here, I would like to express my tremendous pleasure and great honor to be back to India, back to Bangalore, and actually for the very, very first time here in this beautiful and inspiring institution. So good morning. It is always very, very overwhelming to be here back in India, and J.A. Garu knows how much I love coming and visiting. So I want to be brief this morning and try to capture 3 highlights to give you an idea why these trips are very special for me. And I want to highlight why particularly this journey is very, very dear to my heart. The first one is I truly felt reconnecting with the spirit and the purpose of true entrepreneurship coming here to ISF 23. I am sure you would all agree, you can feel the energy, you can feel the passion, you can feel the true spirit here in this room amongst all of us. I think we had a very, very beautiful testimony yesterday with the sharing and the interview from Subguru in terms of true entrepreneurship. What does it entail? What does it mean? And what is it able actually to achieve? And I want to highlight one more point. Jay, you talked about the wonderful volunteers here. I have to say I had one of the most amazing volunteers I've ever had for a startup conference. I'm not sure if Girish is in the room, but here it goes. So yesterday, he asked me if I would be free to accompany him on a tour. And I said, well, I normally was not free. I was supposed to be on a call, but I said, well, you know, what do you have installed? Share with me. And he gave me the tremendous honor to join one of the classrooms and to visit one of the houses and to really connect with the students here. And again, that true sense of being purpose-driven, finding an inner calling, becoming so passionate about be it their own education or about solving certain problems in the world was just, again, really breathtaking. And it really reconnected with myself, my co-founder, and my team over a decade ago when we started in Hong Kong with that passion on driving the tech and innovation scene. So some of you might now think, wait a second, are you comparing Hong Kong to rural India right now? Well, I would argue the state of the ecosystem back then in Hong Kong was pretty premature. So I think there is some type of analogy that it was really the passion and the purpose of the people involved back at that time that made it possible to bring Hong Kong really on the global map of startup ecosystems. So many companies are thriving over there. And it would obviously be a pitfall to only talk about the over 20 unicorns we gave birth to, because it's not about wealth, it's not only about scale, it's really about the impact and the passion. But I would argue some of the biggest companies out there that are really solving tremendous problems or improving people's lives have come out of Hong Kong. And I'm sure some of these brand names are very familiar with you, be it SenseTime or DGI or Animoca brands, and the list really goes on. But hence, that is really the first point why I generally feel very special coming to India and to Bangalore, but this time even more so. The second point was really coming and deciding to go to ISF was the focus area of the conference. And I'll just name the 3 because they don't need any explanation. There is no explanation needed to state why these have been 3 focus areas. The youth, the sustainability and the focus really of rural India, and the diversity and inclusion. And I'm thrilled that later on there will be a roundtable, particularly also on gender diversity and gender inclusion and women in tech. And last but not least, of course, it's always the wonderful opportunity to get down to business and to deepen our connection and our collaboration, to meeting old friends, meeting new friends. And I think J.A. Garu gave a wonderful testimony of the importance of tech conferences and highlighting on the beauty of what he and his team achieved with ISF, how important it is to have these conferences. So we have our own little conference, which is Hong Kong FinTech Week, which is the premier flagship financial services and tech conference in the region, taking place in November. And I was thinking, why should only J.A. Garu set out challenges? Let me also set out a challenge back to J.A. Garu and ask him if he would accept that we have ISF at Hong Kong FinTech Week in November this year. And I wanted to make a first gesture and let you know that when we were looking into hosting the semi-final for India of our global scale-up competition that is part of Hong Kong FinTech Week, we didn't look for a very long time. We love to associate ourselves in these semi-finals with established conferences. Just came back from Toronto, where it was a satellite event to Collision, which is one of the major tech conferences globally organized by the Web Summit. And knowing J.A. Garu and knowing his team and his passion and purpose, we said, well, for India, it cannot be any other conference than ISF and J.A. Garu's team. So I'm really thrilled that tomorrow, and for everybody who is still here, I'll cordially invite you to take part of the semifinals for India for the Global Scale-Up competition and to help encourage to select the winner, because the winner will be flying into Hong Kong FinTech Week and pitch there on a global stage to maybe, hopefully, get the first prize for India. So thank you very much, and again, thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Ms. Karina Bellin. We would now like to extend our gratitude to Ms. Bellin. Our next guest speaker has joined us all the way from Japan, Dr. Kazuhiro Chiba, a learned academician with a doctorate in agriculture. He serves as the president of the Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology. Dr. Chiba, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kazuhiro Chiba. First of all, I would like to congratulate the great success of Startup Festival. I came here from Japan for the innovative challenge in the field of agriculture. As you may know, presently, agriculture gives a pretty much burden on the earth. I hear most of, around 25% of greenhouse gas is emitted directly from the agriculture. We should change the sense of value and the viewpoint for the sustainability for the food, health, and happy life. I'd like to introduce a very old activity of Japan. I hear about 70 years ago, Japan tried to make up a very nice electric instrument like a refrigerator, automatic washers and air conditioners and automobiles. It was a very nice one, I hear. But it was so expensive So even many people hope to buy that nice electric instrument, but mostly they couldn't buy. But very new system was worked. It was a loan system. So everyone get a very nice refrigerator before paying. And they honestly pay back every month. By introducing the loan system, I hear Japanese innovation in the past succeeded. I think this is a very important point. Most important one is not just the technology, but honestly, ethically, if we get some important one, we should pay back, even it took a very long time. I think that kind of cultural spirit can share with India, because basically the way of thinking, sense of value came from India, I think. I think from now on, for the future, we can share the very important concept for the next generation's innovation. I'm very happy to start the new era in India and for global world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Chiba. Our next speaker is Mr. Barry Rudolph, an experienced executive in the IT and service industry. A strong entrepreneurial professional, Mr. Rudolph has held several senior positions at IBM and is currently the independent director of Falcon Store Software. Mr. Rudolph, please.
Well, I hope all of you understand how incredibly special this is. I mean, this is quite a unique experience and quite a unique opportunity. You know, no matter how much experience you have in larger corporations, general management, et cetera, I can speak from experience that when you become a CEO of a startup, it's kind of a lonely place. You get a lot of advice, but that advice is sometimes inherently biased. For some reason, you know, your financiers, the financial teams that are financing you want return. What is incredible about this is there's this strong desire to just help, to actually help people become successful that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity, kind of with a singular motivation of moving society along, creating opportunity, and growing. And that is unique, maybe in the world. So you should all feel very special to be involved in this. It is exciting, it is inspirational, and it is incredibly powerful. So I hope that it expands worldwide, because this kind of behavior that's represented by this amazing location and the culture, et cetera, can be an incredibly powerful tool to move society along. It's a real privilege to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barry Rudolph. We would now like to extend a token of our love and gratitude to Mr. Rudolph. We now invite Mr. Arvind Kumar, Director General, Software Technology Parks of India, to address all of us. A policy, management, and regulatory specialist, Mr. Arvind Kumar focuses on software product clusters in the country by enabling the startup ecosystem in the country. Mr. Arvind Kumar, please.
Thank you. Good morning to all. Param Siddhe, Honorable Peethasin Swamiji, Chaudhary sir, other dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries in the room, ladies and gentlemen, it's really proud privilege to be part of this very festival. When people are talking about rural India, startup, in fact, first time I was able to connect spirituality to startup. I have done some work on how to connect science with the spirituality, but first time I was able to connect spirituality with the startup. It gives really honor to me when person like Chaudhary sir, his introduction is limited to, I am founder, director of STPI. This is a great honor for me that I am head of the organization. That organization itself is an introduction for the person like Chaudhary sir. As everybody says, successful people don't do the different things. They do the same thing differently. I think this is very much true for Chaudhary sir. When he was in a government, he was working like a private company. It is in time that you used to get license in a single day within 24 hours. So this is this kind of the thing he has, this kind of the standard he has made for the STPI. And today when I meet anybody, any tech veteran, any founder of big companies, of billion companies, they say, whatever today I am because of STPI. That is because I am people like J. Chaudhary sir. This is his vision, this is his passion, this is his commitment. Today this country is doing well in software services. We have under $250 billion US revenue of software services. Out of that, $200 billion US is from the export itself. This digital India or technology enablement actually has leveled between poor and urban, poor and rich, rural and urban. Today, even a rich person is paying from the UPI, same is being done in any rural areas by any poor person. So technology enablement, which came through Digital India program of Government of India, has already done labeling, which is required to be done since long back. Now, we are living in a very interesting and exciting area, exciting time, where everything is with the technology. Objective of this trust is also to change the lives. I think this work is also being done by the technology. And the technology and the trust like this work together, we can accelerate so-called how to change the life of the people. This can be very well accelerated in this country. Now, since it's a technological era, there is a rapid shifts. There is a differentiated growth opportunity. These have become now the new norms for the world and especially for our country. And I'm telling you, Government of India also has a lot of focus for tier 2, tier 3 cities. And when we conduct any open challenge program to participation from the rural areas, from the remote areas, 40 to 50% new youngsters, innovators are coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities. 50% are coming from women entrepreneurs. So that there is already a change from, because wisdom not only limited to cities, wisdom is not limited to man, wisdom is not limited to urban areas. Wisdom could be anywhere. It could be in rural areas, it could be in kids, it could be in women, it could be anywhere. And then startup is nothing but about your ideas, about your innovation. Anybody can do it. At STPI also, though we have 63 centers across the country, 54 centers are in tier 2, tier 3 cities to take care of innovators, startups of those areas. We are not only working in deep technologies, we have the Center for Entrepreneurship across the country. We have already created 22 Center for Entrepreneurship across the country, which is not only in the deep technology, but those are also working in agri-tech. We have one Center for Entrepreneurship at agri-tech at Akola in Maharashtra. We have also Center for Entrepreneurship on health technology, is MedTech at Lucknow. We are also going to create one more Center for Entrepreneurship for assistive technology. We are already in discussion with ITBHU to create one exclusive Center for Entrepreneurship, which could be good for disabled people, for differently abled people, can work in the assistive technologies. So STPI has already focused, Government of India has already have the focus to create entrepreneurship from rural areas, from tier 2, tier 3 cities. We also have one scheme which is called Next Generation Incubation Scheme, which is especially exclusively meant for tier 2, tier 3 cities, where we provide a seed fund of 25 lakh rupees to each startup, and then follow-up fund of 25 lakh rupees again to each startup. What is actually required, especially for rural areas? We have a lot of talent in this country. There is no dearth of talent in this country. We have good talent pool. What is actually required is perhaps reskilling, upskilling of that very talent pool. They may be very good in their subjects, but what is today required to create new startup, to create new innovations? That is what is required. And that talent pool, I think we can all work together. We can ask them. We can become like you see, like in Ramcharitmanas, Jambant says from Hanuman, "Kaun so kaaj kathin jag mahi." So we all have to work like a Jambant. We have to tell our youngsters, yes, you are Hanuman, you can do it. So Ramcharit Sundarkand says, "Kaun so kaaj kathin jag mahi, jo na ho tat tum pahi." Yahi hai bas. This is what the spirit is required. We all are experienced. We have done what we wanted to in our life. Now what is required? We have to motivate our youngsters. We have to motivate. We have to mentor them. We have to tell, you have the energy, you have the power, you can do it. That is what is required. With this, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you, sir. May we now invite our next speaker for this morning, Mr. Shri Atluri, Managing Director, Global Head of Enterprise Quality Engineering, BNY Mellon. He has earlier held leadership roles at the New York Stock Exchange, JP Morgan Chase & Co., Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, BNP Paribas, and Morgan Stanley. He's a globally recognized authority in change management, quality management, and compliance in the BFSI sector. Mr. Shri Atluri, please.
Namaste, Sadhguru. And J.A. Chaudhary Garu, and dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I'm humbled and honored to be able to speak and share some of the thoughts with all of you. And it would not have been possible to be here. I actually booked my ticket and canceled. And my wife insisted that I should be here. And in fact, I should support J.A. Chaudhary Garu because he is taking this as yagnam, that's what he calls. And in this particular yagnam, I wanted to be means to support in whatever way I can. And what you saw in Jaya Garu and the way he spoke is his simplicity and the way he pulled everyone who supported him throughout the journey. That shows his passion and also recognizing the right talent. And we keep on hearing about rural India, startup, and the startup ecosystem, and the way he took that to his heart. While he was on the bed, I know he was thinking about it. He was spending countless number of hours with all of us discussing about how to make this festival successful. That thought itself and the way he pulled it through shows the level of enthusiasm, the level of commitment that he has, and his love for India, and his love for rural India. And in fact, when you talk about startups, there is a bit of everyone have a startup when they start something that they are passionate about. I was telling yesterday that it's a kind of itch. I want to do something. But without the right mentorship, without the right backing, and providing the right kind of connectivity, you are lost. And that support structure is able to help guide throughout the journey, which I think is fantastic. And also my thoughts from yesterday. Sadhguruji, I saw free nutrition, free health, free education is something that I have seen throughout. And the way you're doing what you're doing is amazing. And it's not something that's possible without the support of greatness and the higher power that you alluded to yesterday. That is something that drives all of us, and without which I don't think it is possible. And also, I always talk to our people to have the killer instinct in doing what we do. That killer instinct is nothing but sankalpa siddhi. That once you have your mind set to do anything, you can do anything. And I think it is not the time that matters, the vision and the way you want to do what you want to do is possible, quite possible, because of people, like-minded people, like all of you, are coming together. I humbly honored to lead whatever you need, Jaya Garu, in the United States to make it a grand success, the International Startup Festival next year. Thank you very much, and it is my honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Atluri. We take this opportunity to extend our gratitude to three of our wonderful speakers this morning. First, to Dr. Chiba. Mr. Arvind Kumar. And Mr. Sri Atluri. The India Startup Festival has been a wonderful platform for brilliant minds to come together to benefit from each other's strengths and thereby further the cause of societal building through collaborative partnerships. This morning, we will have a series of exchanges of memorandums of understandings. Our first MOU is between the India Startup Festival and AIC STPI Next, a nodal agency of the Software Tech Park of India. We first request Mr. Arvind Kumar and Mr. J.A. Chaudhary Garu to please come forward for the MOU exchange. This MOU endeavors to transform the country. This MOU endeavors to transform the country into a software product nation to build synergy to support the initiatives and innovators of both the parties.
Our next MOU is between the India Startup Festival and the London Chamber of Commerce and Industry, London's key hub for the business community. May we please invite Ms. Marta Kozlowska, Head of International London Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to come on to the dais, please, for the exchange. This partnership aims to support the creation of a collaborative ecosystem for startup development in India and the United Kingdom.
For our next MOU, may we please invite Mr. Gary Seaton and Mr. Gauri Shankar from Energreen Nutrition Australia, and Dr. Lakshmi Prasad and Mr. Tarun from BioE India onto the dais for the MOU exchange. This collaboration will facilitate research and development on biofuel and sustainable aviation fuel from the plant Pongamia pinnata. Our final MOU for this morning is a tripartite collaboration between Energreen, represented by Mr. Gary Seaton, Sujay Biotech, represented by Dr. Lakshmi Prasad, and the Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. May we invite Dr. Shrikant Murthy, Vice Chancellor of the University, onto the dais. This MOU will work towards establishing a center for excellence in agriculture, farming, and related areas.
Thank you, gentlemen. On behalf of all of us, may we invite and pray to Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai to deliver his inaugural address.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkham apnuyat. This Indian prayer means, let everybody be happy, may everybody be healthy, may no one have any sorrow, may everybody see good and auspicious everywhere. Today on this very privileged dais, which is being honored by the best of the people from around the world who have made a mark for themselves and for their communities and the country, I am very honored to host this conference in our ashram, in our place, Sathya Sai Grama, on behalf of J. Garu's baby, his vision of India Startup Festival. And I'm very glad to see the kind of traction that is happening over here. And the latest update, the breaking news is that J. Garu tells me to tell you all that 150 term sheets have been signed. It's not 125 anymore. What has spirituality or a spiritual ashram like this got to do with startups in India? And that's the question I'm sure most of you must be asking yourselves. To us, spirituality is not some secluded activity to be done in solitude or in silence. spirituality is the way of life for Indians. Spirituality is an attitude with which we do everything, ordinary or extraordinary. And this attitude is that of selfless good for all. So to me, spirituality in one word is doing selfless good to all. And that is why this place is important for any activity, including a startup festival. Because while startup festivals try to do good mostly for themselves, or at best to some customers who can pay for it, spiritual startups should do good for all, whether they are able to pay for it or not able to pay for it. That should not be the deciding factor. And that is why spiritual places are important. If I take you back a few centuries ago when India was at the peak of its glory, spiritual glory, generally the places of worship, like temples, were the nerve centers for all socio-cultural and economic activities. And you heard it right, economic activities too, not just socio-cultural. They were the nerve centers where markets used to happen, where people will bring their produces from their villages and sell it in a place which was the place of worship or the temple. Even if you go a few meters away to Nandi village, where we have Bhoganandishwara temple, you will see there is this main temple, and there are many enclosures all around the temple, probably 50, 60 of them. They all look like small shops. But that was the place where people would bring all that they produced in their own local areas and market it there. So in a way, that was a startup festival that was happening in every temple of our country, where people would bring their products, services, and market it, exchange it. And that time there was barter system, not the financial currency that we use right now, marketable instruments. But they were people who appreciated each other's produces, each other's talents, each other's creativity. Because they did not weigh it in dollar terms, but they weighed in terms of the effort that went behind it. The creativity, the innovation, and the solution that each of them provided for each other. A potter could sell his pot or exchange his pot in a barter system with a weaver who would give him clothes in return. A producer of rice might be able to barter his rice with a goldsmith who might be able to give him some ornament in return. Everybody had this system of exchange where each respected everybody's talent and culture. With the passage of time, as modernization of finance has happened, marketable instruments came into picture, what we know as all tradable instruments, including currencies. The entire scenario changed, where banks became more important than these places of worship, where everything started getting monetized, and unless there was a monetary value based on demand and supply, nobody got respect for their craftsmanship. That is where the culture of the country started deteriorating, and people started losing respect for all kinds of forms of art, culture, or tradesmanship. This particular idea of having a startup festival in this place is not merely to show the monetary value behind your efforts, but it is also to create a sense of respect and responsibility in each one of you for each other. That's Indian ethos, that is the Indian Arthashastra, that is Indian Arthaniti, what we call as the economics of India, where everybody respected everybody else's trade. And because it was not having a common currency, but it was dependent on the need of people. And I think that is the kind of culture we must bring in when we start building companies. The Indian ethos of respecting each other's craftsmanship, respecting each other's value systems, respecting each other's talent and culture. Unless that happens, we will be chasing money endlessly, and that is not going to lead to societal welfare and prospect. Take the example of COVID. We did not know how to manufacture a vaccine for COVID because we did not know such a thing ever was needed by us. But we knew how to produce vaccines. We just did not produce vaccine for our country, we produced it for the whole world. More than 100 countries benefited with this Vaccine Maitri program of the government, and so many countries which were incapable of even paying for it, let alone producing it. They did not even have wherewithals of paying for it. India stood up and said, we will give you as a friend to you because we are interested in your welfare. That's the kind of trade and business that India stood for. When somebody needed it badly, we went out of our way to reach it out to them. without financial considerations. I'm sure most of the countries could not have paid it back. It was a friendship, it was a friendly gesture. But what did it do for India? It created a tremendous amount of goodwill, new relationships, new trust with Indian businessmen, with Indian ecosystems. Now, somewhere businesses have to think beyond their profits and think of building a value for all in the society, and more importantly, build that element of trust in the society. Most of the companies are not trusted by the consumers because they somehow know that there is huge amount of profit making, which is the background, which is the underlying principle why these companies are running. Take for example, go to an insurer. And how many of you will just blindly buy an insurance? You all know insurance is another mechanism of kind of making money. Not every insurance company is doing an honest job. We have a lot of people who have medical insurance, they go and claim. The claims are denied, delayed, because the motive of the insurance company is to make profits and not to actually reimburse claims. If they start doing that, it's not going to work out for them as a profitable venture. So certain ventures in the society cannot be profit-oriented. They have to be for the societal good. I'm not saying they should not make even recover their costs. Maybe they can. But some of you have to think of startups that are not just for earning profits, but that are there for solving social problems. Recover the cost. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. You have to make the two ends meet. But some of you have to think differently. I think coming to Muddenahalli, a place like this, should inspire some of you to develop startups, to develop new companies which are not simply for profits, but also for a great cause of social good. And that will bring a lot of goodwill to you. I'm sure on that you will build better companies, bigger companies in the future. I also requested our Jay Garu to start a foundation under India Startup Festival. Generally, a startup festival is a marketplace, you know. Everybody comes for a purpose. They all have their agenda. And once it is served, they're happy. They get an investor gets an idea. And both of them are happy. They go home. And hopefully, in the future, this relationship flourishes. And they make money for each other and they're happy. That is the kind of startup festivals that are generally celebrated around the world. But I told Jay Garu, we have to be different. We are doing it out of Muddenahalli. As I said, the temple-like marketplace, where there is a purpose, there is a vision. So please encourage these startups which are at least getting their funding and financing or mentorship over here to keep aside a little bit of their company for the sake of social good. It's not the call of duty, I know. It is not something that is mandated. It is not something that will be forced upon you. It is not something that if you do not do, you will be penalized for. But it is something that I request all the investors and the companies to think about, keep aside a little bit of whatever you have so that that can be used for a societal good. So I told Jay Garu, why don't you start a foundation in the India Startup Festival? Let this foundation accept such kind of sharing from those companies and investors who have benefited from this platform. Let that foundation go and do more social good, make social impact investments where profitability or return on investment may not be the biggest criteria, but the kind of social change that it brings about, the transformation that it brings about should be the criteria of its success. So I hope some of you will take this free advice and probably make models of social entrepreneurship which will make a difference to the life of those at the bottom of the pyramid. Agri-tech, as we talked about, agriculture is the source of sustenance for half of India. And our children who come from rural areas, their parents are agriculturists, farmers, and they have their own challenges. Climate is an issue now. With all that which is being done by the industry and the economy at the top of the pyramid, it's affecting the bottom of the pyramid in terms of the climate changes. The timeliness of rains is now a question mark, so many times farmers are losing money on their crops because of weather pattern changes. Now somebody on the top of the pyramid has started causing this trouble at the bottom of the pyramid. So if you have created the mess, it's your duty to also mop it up and don't leave it there for the poorer people to suffer with. So climate technologies, agricultural technologies, sustainable technologies is something that we all have to invest in. Again, as I say, it may not be as simple or easy as a software technology, which, you know, is a very profitable venture. But this is something that creates impact at the bottom of the pyramid. And I think somewhere each one of us is responsible. We all eat food, right? We don't eat softwares and algorithms for our survival. We all need to eat food. And that is produced by that bottom of the pyramid. And they need to be supported and protected. And to me, I think that is one area that we all have to pay attention to. We are much privileged compared to them. We have an education from mostly premier institutions. We had opportunities to make it big. I'm talking about the investors. And the others, the innovators, they're taking new opportunities to make it big for themselves. But while we're doing all these things, let us always be mindful of those who are working for us, who are benefiting us indirectly. And they are the ones who should not be left behind in this whole race to grow and prosper. And for their sake, our organization works. I'm not saying you set up your shops. Every one of you cannot do it. But some of you, even 10% of you think that way, that I must go and affect a change at the bottom of the pyramid. I'm sure it will do a lot good, not just to this country, but to the entire world. And with more startup festival chapters coming up, as we just heard, in the US, in UK, in Europe, in Middle East, and now I requested even Professor Chiba, why not in Japan? And he said, yes, why not? So the idea is that Hong Kong, of course, Hong Kong. So we are getting a chapter of ISF everywhere, but everywhere I want ISF to carry its ethos. Ethos is selfless good of all. Not just making a company unicorn, not just making somebody prosperous, not just filling the pockets of the investors. All that should happen, but the greater idea of selfless good of all should be included in the agenda of ISF anywhere, and that's what will differentiate us from all other startup festivals that happen around the world, which are generally driven by greed, but this should be driven by the need at the bottom of the pyramid, and that should be the watchword, need-based startups. And that will change the entire paradigm. I'm very glad that all of you have come here. It was J.A. Garu's, despite his certain challenges with his health, he never gave up this idea that he has to make this vision happen. I think that is a lesson that all the entrepreneurs should learn from him. Come what may. He stuck to this idea despite his challenges. He never gave it up. And I told him, I think you should relax and rest a bit. He said, Swamiji, I cannot think of anything other than ISF. And I live, breathe, eat, talk, sleep, only ISF. That is the kind of dedication one needs to bring up a company. And he is doing not for any other reason. He himself told many times, Swamiji, I want to support what you are doing. In fact, he started with this idea that I want to bring companies, CEOs, CFOs, CXOs, policymakers, change makers, to expose them to an idea of yours that certain things in society must be provided to all, like education, nutrition, healthcare, without any financial considerations. But to support a cause which is as noble as this, definitely there are resources, there are people needed, and that is his idea, to bridge the two, the charity with business, and bring the people from around the world to expose them and sensitize them to the idea of the need at the bottom of the pyramid. I'm very glad that he has kept next 5 years agenda as innovations at the bottom of the pyramid for the agricultural, rural economies. I think that is a very noble cause. You will have to have patience for it. Investors have to have patience in this game. Entrepreneurs will also have to have the patience, like the farmers who sow the seed. Look at their patience. They wait for everything to happen. They wait for harvest to come. They cannot keep digging every now and then to check whether the seed is sprouting or germinating. Then they will destroy the crop. Likewise, when you invest in rural India, when you invest in an agri startup or at the bottom of the pyramid, patience is the most important virtue that you must have. You can't compare it with an IT company in the urban setup, which quickly starts, recovering its cost and start making profit, breaks even quite early. These break-evens will happen at a long, long time, but whatever happens will do an irreversible, positive change in the society at large. And for that sake, I think some of us will have to dedicate our time and energy. So to all the investors, to the entrepreneurs, and all the volunteers who have worked so hard to make this festival happen, a lot of blessings and best wishes. Again and again, I tell, this is a very pure and sacred land. Anything that is thought of here in a pure and sacred way definitely succeeds. So I'm very sure that this startup festival will lead to a lot more success for all of you. But when we are succeeding, let us not forget to look behind and take care of those who did not get the same privilege and opportunity as us. So we work for that pyramid, that bottom of the pyramid, and I'm sure this will become an ideal startup festival for times to come. I thank all of you, Jay Garu, the university staff, and everyone else who is a part of this mission. May you all succeed. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkham apnuyat. Namaste.
Our gratitude to Sadhguru. With this, we conclude the inaugural session. We will now have a networking break of 10 minutes before we reconvene for the keynote addresses of this morning. Thank you, everyone.